Remember that. 681-1230 is our phone number, by the way. Open line this morning. It is Legal Tuesday. Officer Ryan Bassett and Deputy Al Melby are in studio today, 20 minutes before noon. As we start to wind the show down a little bit here, if you have any other questions or comments, you can certainly call in at 681-1230, 681-1230. I do have an email that comes in. It says, question for the officers. Can the two officers explain to the people at home what a stay of adjudication means?
Yeah. So we brought that up yesterday. Last Tuesday, meaning they hold the sentence over their head, meaning they don't actually get the jail time, or
it depends on what if they stay the charge itself. As an example, if let's just say bad checks, you write some bad checks, and you come in, you plead guilty. It's your first offense. It was a bookkeeping error. Or, you should have known better. They may give you what's called a stay of adjudication. What that means is they take your plea, but they do not accept it. And they'll hold on to it, say, for 6 months or a year, whatever they decide. And then at the end of that time, if you had no more similar violations, then the charge itself would be dismissed.
So it's almost like a second chance.
Basically,
correct.
Right?
But if you screw up within that 6 months, a year, 2 years, you're going to pay the full price.
Well, then
it could be jail time.
Yeah, and the charge kicks in then.
Yep.
And then the stay of the sentence, and usually you get a lot of that where same thing. Let's just say checks again. You did it before, so now they accept your guilty plea and they fine you the usual restitution and the bank fees and all that, and then they fine you say $100, and they give you 10 days in jail stayed, and that means you pay the fine, you do everything that's required of you, and then you don't have to serve those 10 days. And if you go to 6 months or a year without another violation, then those 10 days go away.
Okay, but if
it's hanging over your head.
Yeah,
So
if you
screw up, then you get those 10 days. Theoretically, you get those 10 days plus the new charge would kick in, and you have to answer that whole new charge also.
Yep.
Okay. They go on to say that people have been complaining on social media lately about all the pleas and stayed sentences, and now we're starting to see more stay of adjudication appearing instead. So. Yep. Are we seeing more of it? And if so, why? Or is
it's always been that way. I can remember back when I was working, especially like for minor things, say like the shoplifting or the bad checks or some traffic violations. You might get the fine and that sort of thing, but then they'll hold the jail time over your head just to give you an incentive to not repeat that type of behavior. But you still end up paying a fine in most cases, or if it's a stay of adjudication where they're not going to accept the penalty, then what they do is you have what they call it's some sort of a prosecution fee. So you end up paying that. It's not considered a fine because that fine would be tied into the charge, but you cost the prosecution to go through this. And if you make the time frame and you pay what you need to do, it goes away. If not, it kicks in and you go from there.
And I know people are got to throw everybody in jail. Everybody for certain things. Like we get it. I mean, I do too. And I go to calls, and sometimes it's just out of our hands. And
well, because that's a court system situation. That's not law enforcement.
We can't just throw people in jail every second. We only hold so many people in our jails. So, I mean, if we wanted to do that, we want to throw everybody in jail for every little violation, such as misdemeanors that are like maybe a first-time shoplifter, and make them do the jail time. Theoretically, they could, but they more than likely won't because it's just the way it is. I mean, you can't just be throwing everybody in jail. You can't do it.
You don't have enough room.
No, we don't.
There isn't. Okay. Let me see. I have another one here that says, they're just giving names of people like bad checks. Somebody wrote 41 bad checks, earned 4 felonies, 5 misdemeanors, served no jail time. So they're giving an example of one. Okay. I had another email back on and we're kind of going all over the place, but we're catching some different emails as they come in back to the stay of adjudication. And then we have a caller that we'll get to here in just a moment. But they said, and this one talks about the type of crime. Judge has defendant acknowledged breaking into his father's house June 3rd, 2015, breaking glass and causing extensive damages exceeding over $1,000. The charge was felony first-degree burglary. The disposition was $500 in prosecution charges and a stay of adjudication. This is no minor crime. His defense attorney wanted to point out that he was drinking alcohol at the time. So no minor crime is, and I think maybe what they're trying to get to is the point that maybe that's a little more serious crime, and doesn't matter the level of crime, felony, not felony, as far as the stay adjudication.
Oh, it can. Usually, the biggest thing would be the stay adjudication for the charge itself or for the penalty. Either way, is something that is sometimes negotiated out. Usually, that would something be negotiated out. The judge has to accept that, has to agree with it, and go from there. Now, if it's misdemeanor stuff, usually I've seen it for 10 days. I've seen it up to a year. Felonies can be up to years. You can have the stay of adjudication for 4, 5, 6, 10 years.
They can't really.
They
do that often, or
yes,
they do. Okay.
Especially on a lot of the serious ones, the drug charges, some of that. The stay it can be for quite a while. So, or you get put on probation for that many years, which there again they have control over you for that time frame.
Okay.
So it's based on how serious the crime is as to how long it is.